Between 1930 and 1970, parts of the Lincolnshire coast were used as a bombing range for the RAF. The RAF chose this area of the country not only because of its really close proximity to all the air bases in Lincolnshire, but also because of the wide sandy beach, especially when the tide went out. It was enormous and provided lots and lots of space for their aircraft to go past and practice bombing. In the 1960s, the Air Force deposited a huge amount of ordnance on these beaches to enable the RAF pilots to practice their bombing. And since then, in the late 70s, they cleared it all away. However, they've left one thing stranded on this beach that's still here today since the late 1970s, and that is a World War II tank. And in this video, I'm going to try and find that tank and use my Canon to take a picture or two of that tank and show you exactly what it looks like. So let's go and see if we can find it. The tank we're looking for is a cruiser class A34 Comet, and it was used in the end of the Second World War to defeat the Tiger and Panther tanks of the Germans. And waterproof footwear is definitely in order when you're walking right through these sand dunes, right through these salt marshes, because it is very wet, very muddy and very sticky. I finally got my first half-decent glimpse of the tank just behind me, just there, so let's go and have a look at it now. The tank was built in 1944 and saw action in early 1945 to face German Tiger and Panther tanks, and there were reports that it did take out some Tiger tanks. It was built as a light tank, manoeuvrable with a 17-inch gun, and it was just what the army needed at the time, just to complete and finish off the Second World War. The tank replaced the older Cromwell tank, and there was just over 1,000 of them built. And in 1959, the army, the military, stopped using them, and all of the tanks, or many of the tanks that were left, were sold off to different countries like Ireland, South Africa, Finland, Burma, all sorts of different places that took them off of the British Army and obviously still use them. Here I am standing in the turret of the tank and looking out maybe to shoot a German tank that's going past. There are still a few of these tanks still in the world today. In particular, there's one in the Imperial War Museum in Duxford in England. So if you're interested in these A34 Comets, you can go along and see what they really look like all built up. But it's amazing that this tank is still here on this beach today, long after the RAF took away all the other ordnance they have, and potentially this was so buried in the sand that they just couldn't get it out, and that's why they left it. It's a bit odd, but it makes a great thing for locals to come and have a look at this nice piece of equipment just lying on the beach. It kind of gives this beach a little bit more interest, because otherwise it's just flat as the eye can see all the way to Holland and to Denmark. It's just flat. It had a 12-cylinder engine, just like those engines used on the Spitfire, and as you can see, I can count 5 of the pistons are still here, and quite a bit of this tank and the engine is still here. So hopefully, using the Canon 400D, it'll take a nice photo. In the late 1970s, the RAF sold off the whole of this area, the Theddlethorpe and Saltfleetby Marsh, as a nature reserve, and the only things you see here now is wildlife. The occasional dog walker and some nutcase photographers that come and take videos and photos of this tank. The tank's nicely bathed in this light, and I'm just trying to get a corner of this back end using the Canon now. I'm going to go a wide horizontal for this shot. The challenge I had with that last shot was that the sun was right behind me. There was a long shadow of my body going right through the middle of the tank. So I don't think that's going to make a very good shot. So I've come this side of it. The sun is still shining lovely on that tank. It's really illuminating it beautifully. So I'm going to take a shot at this angle. It's always best to take photos of cars, buildings, things at a corner, because it gives it depth and breadth. So that looks so good. So I'm going to take a picture here, obviously in landscape mode, and I just take a picture of this tank. I try and be as high as I can to get the turret in as well. So I'm 18mm and I'm about 1/200th a second, 1/250 a second, f5. Just a simple shot of the tank in the corner. Nice and easy. Let's have a look at that now. For this shot, I want to take a picture of the engine. I really like the look of the engine. The sun's blaring at me from that direction, which is really good. It's illuminating the inside of this tank really well. So I've got the Canon 400D. I'm in manual mode. I'm just going to take this shot now and I'll show you what this looks like. It's just a picture of the engine. I'm using the 1855 lens and 1/50 of a second f5, around that sort of 1/60 of a second. Just taking a picture of the engine. So I think that looks all right. It's just a historic picture of the engine of the tank. I really like the idea of these puddles and I'm hopeful I can get a nice reflection. I don't have any sort of flippy screen. I can't even see the live view on this camera, so I can't really tell. But I'll set my shutter speed and my aperture now, and I'll just put the camera down as low as I can and just hope for the best. So I've taken a few different images and I'm just going to hope. I think I'm kind of lucky because I don't think everyone has the opportunity to sit inside a World War II tank and sort of feel the size of it, how massive it is inside. It feels bigger than a van. It feels huge, and the thickness of the steel is incredible. No wonder it's lasted so long. Although this side of the tank looks really good, unfortunately, because it's not got any light on it. It looks dark. And obviously I'd have to take a couple of different shots to get the best out of this. But I'm just going to take one shot. I'm just going to use this now, and hopefully I can bring this out in post and make it look as good as it looks to my eye. As always, thank you very much for watching this video, and thank you in particular for getting this far. Of course, if you like this video, if you like the idea of these photos of this tank, then by all means give the video a like. That would be lovely. And if you like my photography content, then why not subscribe to the channel? You can just click the button there, you can just give it a click. It's free, it's simple, and you can join in. Once again, thank you very much indeed for watching. See you in the next one. Cheerio.